There's a quiet crisis unfolding in millions of homes tonight. It's not on the evening news, but it's felt in every effort to rise from a chair, carry groceries, or steady oneself on a flight of stairs. It's the silent, relentless loss of muscle, a condition called sarcopenia, and it begins far earlier than most people realize. By the time we reach our 60s, we may have already lost 15% or more of our muscle mass. By our 80s, that figure can climb to 50%. And this isn't just about strength. Muscle is our metabolic engine. It protects our bones, fuels our energy, stabilizes our mood, and safeguards our independence. Without it, risks like falls, frailty, hospitalization, and even death increase sharply. But here's the hopeful news: say, muscle loss is not an inevitable part of aging. In fact, science tells us we have far more control than we think, especially over what we do before we sleep. Yes, it turns out that what you eat before bed may either accelerate muscle breakdown or help rebuild and preserve it. Recent advances in geriatric nutrition, sleep physiology, and muscle metabolism are revealing that our nighttime habits, especially our evening meals, may play a critical role in whether our bodies continue to regenerate or decline overnight. I want to share with you a story, brief but powerful, that set me on this path. A retired librarian I worked with, whom we'll call Mrs. Ellison, came to our clinic worried about her shrinking legs. "I haven't changed much," she said, "but I feel smaller, weaker." As we looked deeper, we found no major disease, but we did find a pattern: very little protein after lunch and almost nothing before bed. After just a few weeks of shifting her bedtime nutrition, combined with simple leg strengthening exercises, she began to stabilize. Her energy returned, her balance improved, and most importantly, her hope returned. This is the power of informed action. In today's conversation, we'll explore 4 research-backed foods that, when consumed before bed, can help protect and rebuild muscle in older adults. But we won't stop there. You'll also learn the biological processes that govern muscle repair during sleep, why traditional late-night snacks can be harmful, and how to transform them, how even small changes in bedtime eating can boost strength function and vitality. This isn't about fads or quick fixes. It's about reclaiming your body's ability to heal and thrive, even as you age. If you felt yourself slowing down or weakening, stay with us. You may find that one of the simplest paths to strength begins not in the gym, but at your dinner table. Just before you turn out the lights. It started with the routine visit. Mr. Ramirez, a retired postal worker in his early 70s, came in for his annual checkup. He didn't have any specific complaints, no pain, no major changes in his lab work. But when he sat down and we asked how he was feeling, he hesitated. Then he said something I've heard many times before: "I feel like I'm slowly shrinking." When we asked him to stand up from the exam table without using his hands, he struggled, not because of pain, but because of weakness. What Mr. Ramirez was describing wasn't just a feeling, it was the early stages of sarcopenia, a condition that silently erodes muscle mass, beginning as early as our 40s, but often going unnoticed until our 60s or beyond. Here's the science: after age 30, we begin to lose about 38% of our muscle mass per decade. By age 60, this accelerates. If left unaddressed, it can lead to frailty, falls, and even hospitalization. But what makes this especially concerning is that muscle is more than movement. It is metabolically active tissue that supports immunity, regulates blood sugar, and even produces signaling molecules that influence brain health. The good news, muscle is not a passive victim of age. It's remarkably responsive to the right inputs. And nutrition is a major one. In a 2013 review published in Aging Research Reviews, scientists concluded that targeted dietary strategies, particularly adequate protein intake timed to match circadian rhythms, can slow or reverse muscle loss in older adults. This matters deeply. Many seniors eat most of their protein at breakfast or lunch, and then very little at night. But research now shows that without a sufficient supply of amino acids during sleep, the body may begin breaking down existing muscle tissue to meet its repair demands. Imagine your muscles as a team of night shift workers. Their job is to fix, rebuild, and grow stronger while you sleep. But if they clock in and there are no supplies, no bricks, no mortar, they can't do their work. Or worse, they'll start cannibalizing parts of the existing structure just to get by. This is where bedtime nutrition becomes crucial. One key step is understanding how your protein intake is distributed throughout the day. Ask yourself, do I eat enough protein in the evening? Or do I tend to stop eating after lunch? Have I noticed feeling weaker or more unsteady, even though I haven't changed much else? These questions are not just personal reflections. They're diagnostic tools. Recognizing muscle loss early gives you the best chance at slowing, even reversing, its course. If you or someone you love is in this stage, know this change is still possible. And often it begins not with a prescription, but with a protein-rich snack before bed. In part 2, we'll explore exactly how sleep and nutrition interact and why what you eat right before bed may determine what your muscles can do the next morning. And if this is resonating with you so far, I encourage you subscribe to our channel. Share your story in the comments. This community exists to honor your health journey and to offer real tools that help you thrive. A few years ago, researchers at Maastricht University in the Netherlands conducted a simple but profound study. They recruited a group of older men, all healthy, all over the age of 65, and gave them a protein drink just before bed. What they found was extraordinary muscle protein synthesis, the process by which muscles rebuild and strengthen significantly increased overnight compared to those who hadn't consumed the drink. Why is this important? Because it turns out that the body doesn't stop working while we sleep. In fact, for muscle repair and growth, nighttime may be the most important window of all. During deep sleep, what scientists call slow wave sleep, the body enters a highly active state of regeneration. Hormones like growth hormone and testosterone peak, and cellular repair accelerates. But all this healing work depends on one essential ingredient available, amino acids. If you go to bed without sufficient nutrition, especially protein, your body may start to break down existing muscle tissue to access the materials it needs to function. In essence, you begin the night in a deficit, and night after night, the toll adds up. This is especially true in older adults whose ability to synthesize muscle is naturally lower, a phenomenon known as catabolic resistance. What that means is We need more of the right kind of protein at the right time just to maintain the same level of muscle repair that a younger person might achieve with less. So what can you do? The most effective step is to consume a small, protein-rich, low-sugar snack about 30 minutes to an hour before bed. The goal is not a heavy meal, but a focused intake that supports overnight repair. Here are a few examples. Half a cup of low-fat cottage cheese, a rich source of casein, a slow-digesting protein. Plain Greek yogurt with a sprinkle of flaxseed. Protein plus healthy fats and fiber. A hard-boiled egg and a few almonds. Simple, balanced, and rich in muscle-repairing nutrients. A small glass of cherry juice with a protein supplement. Cherry juice enhances sleep while protein supports recovery. These foods not only help your muscles recover, they may also improve your sleep quality. Certain amino acids, like tryptophan and glycine, found in these foods can gently nudge the body toward more restful sleep. Ask yourself, what if my bedtime snack could serve a purpose beyond hunger? What if it helped rebuild my body? Overnight, could shifting one small habit help me feel steadier? I got stronger and more confident during the day. We often overlook nighttime as a health opportunity, but it may be one of the most powerful windows for healing. And remember, if you're finding this valuable, I encourage you, subscribe to Healthy Aging Lab. This channel exists to give you tools, not just information, and your voice matters here. Share your evening routine or your struggles in the comments. You never know who it might help. In the next section, we'll meet a woman who transformed her strength and stability, not in the gym, but by changing her last meal of the day. When I first met Elaine, she was 76 and recovering from a minor fall. It wasn't serious, she said, but it shook me. A lifelong piano teacher with a gentle presence and a sharp mind. She'd always taken pride in her balance and independence, but now she was nervous to walk alone, especially at night. As we reviewed her habits, one thing stood out. Elaine's dinners were light, often just a cup of soup or toast and tea. I don't like going to bed full, she explained. That's understandable. It also meant that for nearly 12 hours every night, her body was fasting. Without the protein it needed to protect her muscles. Together, we made a simple change. Elaine began eating half a cup of Greek yogurt with a spoonful of almond butter before bed. Within weeks, she noticed something. Her legs felt more stable in the morning. Her walking was steadier. And she told me, with a small smile, I feel like myself again. This kind of transformation isn't magic. It's metabolic science. Let's talk about casein, the slow-digesting protein found in dairy foods like Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. Unlike whey protein, which digests quickly and spikes amino acid levels for a short time, casein digests slowly, releasing amino acids into the bloodstream for up to 7 hours. This sustained release is ideal for overnight muscle repair. In one landmark study published in the Journal of Nutrition, older adults who consumed casein before bed showed a marked increase in overnight muscle protein synthesis compared to those who didn't. Not only that, they maintained lean body mass more effectively over time. But casein isn't the only player. Elaine's almond butter also contributed healthy fats and a small amount of magnesium, a mineral vital for muscle function and sleep quality. Magnesium helps muscles relax and supports the nervous system's transition into restful sleep. This matters because better sleep equals better repair. Think of your bedtime meal as preparing your body's overnight construction crew. Without the right building blocks, they can't repair what's been damaged or reinforce what's been weakened, but with the right materials. Even in small amounts, they can work efficiently, restoring strength while you rest. Consider reflecting on your own routining. Do I go to bed nourished or simply not hungry? What would it feel like to wake up steadier, more energized, more confident in my body? We often think of strength as something earned in the gym, but for older adults, the foundation of strength is laid in quiet, consistent habits, like a spoonful of protein before bed. In the next section, we'll meet a man who struggled with sleep and fatigue until he added one unlikely fruit to his evening routine. What happened next surprised even his doctor. James, age 68, was a retired engineer with a tidy notebook full of his daily logs, sleep hours, meals, steps, even mood. I've always tracked things, he said with a chuckle, but lately, I can't seem to figure this one out. His problem, unrelenting fatigue and restless sleep. He felt weaker in the mornings and groggier during the day. I used to wake up ready to move. Now, it's like I'm pulling myself out of wet cement. As we reviewed his habits, one pattern became clear. His dinners were balanced, but by 8 p.m., he stopped eating altogether. No evening snack, no nourishment before bed. Just a glass of water and the hope for restful sleep. But here's what we know from research. Sleep quality and muscle health are intimately connected. And in older adults, sleep can be disrupted by subtle blood sugar drops, nutrient deficiencies, or low levels of sleep-regulating compounds like melatonin and magnesium. That's where a simple and surprising food came into play: tart cherries. Tart cherries are one of nature's few sources of natural melatonin, the hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycle. In a study published in the European Journal of Nutrition, participants who drank tart cherry juice twice daily improved both sleep duration and sleep quality within 2 weeks. For James, we combined a small glass of tart cherry juice, just 4 ounces, with a scoop of casein-based protein mixed in. A powerful combination. Within a week, his logs changed. Sleeping deeper, he wrote, more energy, less soreness, and then the line that made us both smile, getting back to morning walks. Why did it work? Because James was finally giving his body what it needed, melatonin to help initiate and regulate sleep. Tryptophan and casein protein to support sustained muscle repair. Natural antioxidants from the cherries to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which contribute to muscle breakdown. This holistic approach did more than improve sleep. It restored his capacity to recover. This brings us to an important question. Is my fatigue a signal that I'm underfueled? Not just during the day. At night, could my evening snack be working against my health or working for it? So many older adults go to bed empty, not because they're dieting, but because they've learned to stop eating early. Yet science is clear: a thoughtful, protein-rich, sleep-supportive snack may be one of the most effective strategies to maintain strength, prevent falls, and improve energy. If this message is resonating with you, take a moment now, subscribe to Healthy Aging Lab. Leave a comment below. What helps you sleep better? Or where are you still struggling? When we share, we don't just learn, we support one another. And aging well is something we do together. In the next section, we'll explore a powerful nutrient pair, one that not only supports muscle strength, but also protects your heart, bones, and nerves, and how a simple banana and nut butter combo could change your mornings. When I visited a local senior community last fall, I asked the group a simple question: what's your go-to bedtime snack? A few people laughed. Does warm milk count? One said. Another mentioned crackers. But one woman, Anna, raised her hand and said, I eat half a banana with peanut butter every night. It helps me sleep. At first glance, that might seem like an old habit, not a health strategy. But in fact, what Anna was doing instinctively is backed by strong nutritional science. Let's unpack it. Bananas are rich in potassium and magnesium, two minerals essential for muscle contraction and relaxation. They help maintain the electrical gradients that allow muscles to fire properly, and they reduce the risk of nighttime cramping, twitching, or restlessness. This matters more than people realize. Magnesium, in particular, has been shown to promote deeper sleep, and when combined with potassium, it supports cardiovascular and neuromuscular stability, a quiet but vital component of maintaining muscle integrity. Now let's look at the peanut butter. A tablespoon provides healthy fats, some plant-based protein, and, importantly, tryptophan, an amino acid the brain uses to make serotonin and melatonin. This is the biochemical pathway that supports calm, stable sleep and mood regulation. And while tryptophan is found in many foods, its absorption is improved when consumed alongside carbohydrates, like the natural sugars in a banana. So, Anna's bedtime routine wasn't just comforting, it was smart. Multiple studies, including one published in the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences, have shown that magnesium supplementation in older adults improves sleep efficiency, increases deep sleep, and decreases the time it takes to fall asleep. Similar findings exist for potassium. Low levels are associated with disrupted sleep and muscle weakness, both of which increase with age. When we recommended Anna's snack to a few others in the group, the results were consistent: less leg cramping, improved sleep, and in some cases, less morning stiffness, that heavy, slow start feeling that many older adults assume is just normal aging. But what if it's not? What if it's a signal that your muscles and nerves are undersupported, especially during the hours when your body is trying hardest to heal? Ask yourself, do I wake up feeling restored or still tired and achy? Could a simple snack, rich in potassium, magnesium, and tryptophan, change how I sleep and recover? Remember, the goal isn't to eat more. It's to eat wisely. Targeted bedtime nutrition can act like a night shift nurse for your muscles, soothing, supporting, and strengthening you while you rest. In our next and final section, we'll look at how consistent bedtime nourishment creates not just physical changes, but emotional and cognitive ones too. We'll also explore how simple food rituals can build resilience, connection, and dignity as we age. There's a quiet beauty in routine, in the things we do every night without thinking. simply because they bring us peace. For many older adults, that might be reading a few pages of a book, turning on a soft lamp, or brewing a cup of herbal tea. But one of the most underappreciated rituals for well-being may be the small act of nourishing yourself before bed. Let me tell you about Harold and Marlene, a couple in their early 80s, married for over 50 years. Every night, just before they turned out the lights, they'd split a bowl of warm oats with walnuts and a splash of milk. It's not fancy, Marlene told me, but it's ours. When Harold suffered a brief hospital stay last year, Marlene kept the tradition alive, and when he came home, it was one of the first things they returned to. As I spoke with them, I realized something important. This wasn't just about calories or nutrients. It was about rhythm, safety, meaning there's science to support this too. When we eat a small, balanced snack before bed, especially one that contains complex carbohydrates, a bit of protein, and healthy fats, we stabilize blood sugar levels, reduce nighttime cortisol, and enhance sleep depth. But we also reinforce a sense of continuity, a reassuring signal to the brain and body that it's time to rest, restore, and be cared for. That kind of ritual has powerful implications for emotional health. In older adults, evening hours can sometimes bring anxiety, restlessness, or loneliness. This is especially for those who live alone or who are managing health concerns. But a simple act, like stirring oats, slicing a banana, or sharing a moment with someone you love, can ground us. It can become a quiet anchor for resilience. And yes, oats themselves offer a surprising benefit. Rich in beta-glucans and B vitamins, they support both muscle recovery and nervous system regulation. When combined with walnuts, which provide omega-3s and melatonin precursors, the combination promotes calm, deep sleep, and overnight healing. We often underestimate the power of consistent care, especially self-care, in aging well. But longevity is not only about medical interventions, it's about nourishing yourself, body, mind, and spirit, day by day, night by night. So I'll leave you with the things, what it would look like to end each day with care. What small act of nourishment could signal to your body and your heart that it's safe to rest and ready to heal? Sometimes healing begins not with a prescription, but with a pause, a spoon, a quiet choice to feed your future. Up next, in the conclusion, we'll bring together all the science and stories you've heard, and I'll offer you one simple step to begin restoring your strength tonight. Over the past few decades, science has deepened our understanding of aging, not as a passive decline, but as a dynamic process influenced by daily choices. Among the most overlooked, yet profoundly impactful of these choices, is how we nourish ourselves in the quiet hours before sleep. We've talked about Mr. Ramirez, whose early muscle loss was reversed by evening protein. About Elaine, who stabilized her balance with Greek yogurt and almond butter. About James, who found energy again with tart cherry juice and casein. Anna, whose half banana and peanut butter helped her sleep and move with greater ease. And Harold and Marlene, who transformed a simple bowl of oats into a nightly act of resilience. These stories are real. And what they show us again and again is that small intentional changes can shift the trajectory of our aging. They remind us that the body, even in later life, remains capable of repair, growth, and strength, especially when we support it. Let's review the science-backed strategies we explored together. Sarcopenia is not inevitable. Muscle loss can be slowed or even reversed with the right support. Nighttime is a powerful window for healing. During deep sleep, muscle repair is active, but only if nutrients are available. Protein before bed matters. Especially slow digesting sources like casein can boost overnight muscle synthesis. Nutrients like magnesium, potassium, tryptophan, and melatonin amplify the benefits. These compounds not only help your muscles, they help you sleep, repair, and recover. Food can be medicine and ritual. Evening nourishment doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to be consistent, thoughtful, and kind. So, what can you do tonight? Start small. Choose one of these bedtime foods and make it part of your routine. A half cup of cottage cheese, a small bowl of oats with walnuts, a banana with peanut butter, Greek yogurt with a sprinkle of flaxseed, or a few almonds and a glass of tart cherry juice. Then reflected, how do I feel in the morning? What changes, however subtle, do I notice? Track it. Own it. Aging with vitality doesn't begin in big leaps. It begins in steady, nourishing habits, in the quiet moments of care that add up to strength, resilience, and independence. And to all those watching, if you've felt your muscles fading or your energy waning, please know this, there's still so much you can do. Your body is listening. It's not too late to begin again. If you found this helpful, I invite you to subscribe to Healthy Aging Lab. Tell us your story in the comments. What's worked for you? What questions do you still have? We're building a space where aging is empowered, not feared, where science serves humanity, where each of us supports the other, because we are never too old or too far along to grow stronger.